All right, back for the next Gren Twigs video. Last time we talked about custom types that can hold data and custom types that hold data where you can customize the type of data that they hold. So we created a user type. The user type could either be this anonymous variant or it can be a logged in variant. In the logged in variant, it can hold data that we explicitly say is a string. We also created this fetch result type, and this was a customizable custom type. It had some type variables for the error value and the value. So the error variant holds that error value and the value variant holds that value. We explicitly fill in those type variables for our greet-fetched user function. Our greet-fetched user function creates a customized, it expects a customized version of this type where the error type is a string and the value type is a user, so that when we match on that result, we know in the error branch here, we can treat this error as a string, and in our value branch, we can treat it as a user where we just defer to our original greet function. Okay, I called this fetch result and shaped it like this because Gren and languages like Gren have a built-in custom type that works just like this. So if you go to the, I've got a few tabs open here, sorry, I'm gonna clean this up. If you go to packages.grenlang.org, the core package has a result type built in. If you scroll down to error handling result, you'll see it looks a lot like our one that I made in the REPL here. It's called result, two type variables for the error and the value type. The OK variant holds the value and the error variant holds the error. This will come into play when we use local storage, because if you remember, local storage gives us a task. We have to turn that task into a command. And I'm just going to show you instead of trying to describe it. Let's go straight to the code. So we're finally getting back into the code here. Our clicker app. Sorry, I have a rabbit in my office and she started scratching. She's fine. Oh, I got that scorpion. We named her Scorpia. Okay, so let's start by, we're going to import a couple libraries here. We want the local storage module. We're also going to want the web storage module. This holds our error types that we're going to need to handle. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that now. So the command that we want to run is going to start with a task. That task is going to be getting a count from local storage. And if you remember, when we call this, we get a task. That task has, see, there's web storage, an error type of a read error and a value of a string. Now, a task is not a command. We can't just return this task from init. We need to turn it into a command. To do that, we have some functions in the task module. If you come back to the package site, again, in the core package, scroll down until you find the task module. There you go. There's a bunch of functions here, but the function we want is attempt. Attempt is what you used to run a task that could fail. So if you see here, we do have an associated error type. So this is a task that can fail. We're going to have to handle that. Gren won't compile if we're not handling it, which is nice. It means you can't just let your program blow up. You know, if local storage is disabled or something, you're going to have to handle that. Which might sound annoying at first. It is definitely a trade-off. You know, sometimes it is nice to just write some code that you don't care if it blows up, whatever. You panic, however you would normally do that in a handful of other languages. I like that is not possible with Gren because that means I can't accidentally let my program blow up. I'm very confident when I change code, when I add code, that I'm not missing anything. Anyway, we have a task. We need to turn it to a command. So we're going to use attempt. Now, this is where a result comes into play. So the first parameter to attempt is going to be a function that takes a result and returns a message. I don't know if it's immediately obvious or not, but this is essentially one of our this is a message constructor. So if you remember from a previous video, these variants here, these are actually functions that return a message. So let's make a new one so that we have a function that takes some data and returns a message. We'll call it got_count. The data it wants is that result type. Okay, it's a result, but these are type variables. But look, the type variable needs to match the variable in our task. So the result error type needs to match the task error type. The result value type needs to match the task value type. So let's go back and look at our task. The error type is a web storage read error, and the value type is a string. So here we now have a function called got_count that takes this result type and returns a message. That's what we need for the first parameter to attempt. The second parameter to attempt is the task that we're trying to attempt. And look at that, we get a command back. All right, so if we're calling task.attempt, the first argument is going to be our function that takes a result and returns a message. The second parameter is going to be our task, and that is going to return a command. I'm going to do one thing. If this makes sense, bear with me. I'm going to make a change to it. I'm going to start with the thing that I care about, my task. I am going to pipe that to a function here. This is more commonly how you're going to see this type of thing. And if you remember, this pipe operator means whatever the value on the left is, pass it as a parameter to the function on the right. Now, again, remember, this is why I took those tangents. The function on the right is the result of calling task.attempt with got_count. So what happens when I do that? When I call task.attempt with got_count, I get back this function. This function expects a task and returns a command. Well, it's going to receive a task and it's going to return the command that we're passing here. I'm going to stop there, let that sink in, watch again if you need to, play around. This code is not going to work yet. We'll keep going in the next video.